It's the official NRL Fantasy Podcast.
It's the official NRL Fantasy Podcast, and it's officially round one. I'm Paulie G, Luke Seifleet, Erik Wells. How exciting.
We're ready, mate. Ready to rock and roll.
We are ready. I've got the predictor out. I need to bring in the big guns, the big CPU. If you are listening, next week, get on YouTube and watch it, because I'm telling you, it's worth watching.
That's what everyone comes for, mate. The predictor and the team list. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah. So do we want to go straight into team list news, or do you want to talk about the Witzer Preseason challenge? Where are you heading?
I don't know. What do you think, Paulie?
There's a few spicy team list options there I think might need addressing. There was a few surprises. We always get let down, or just some explosions, and I think we've got a pretty big couple of picks here that we weren't expecting to happen.
Huge picks in the Raiders team, right?
Well,
Zach Hosking getting named and Corey Horsburgh. So
two very big picks.
I feel like you could almost bring them both straight into your team.
I think also too we're missing the most obvious start of the show. Tigers. Impressed?
Early days.
Well, we got our two experts here. Newcastle's flying. West is flying.
Well, look, I don't know.
I think we've got to believe, don't we? Both teams, yeah.
Well, I mean, you want to start there. At the same time, look, Roosters had a few challenges on the weekend too, so you've got to take that with a grain of salt.
Well, I think with Dylan all aboard Dylan Lucas train, right? We said that last week, right?
Yeah, there's one night. Like, I like Ponga, don't get me wrong, but there's one night's player I feel like you've got to own, and that's Dylan Lucas. So.
And then for Tigers, who?
Terrell May.
Terrell May, there you go.
Yeah.
With his
just
own
the minutes,
yeah.
just the minutes, right? Yeah. Like he didn't do that much in that game, but even when they interviewed Jerome Luai after the game, he said, "Oh, yeah, Terrell's a stat padder." So he's going to do it so he can look on his phone afterwards. He did it last year.
I also think he's going to go to another level when Appy comes back too.
Yeah, it's going to help.
That's going to be the big thing.
Jerome and Appy come in, and it's a different team.
I think other than that, we really pretty much discovered everything we wanted to know, really, didn't we?
Well, I thought Jacob Preston was outstanding in a losing team.
I thought he was. I kind of expect that from him now, to be honest.
I've been plotting him through. Like, I think you could definitely have him as a keeper. I think he's that good.
Well, another one as well who redeemed himself, Mamazoulis, Marky Mark. They were the two that.
Well, I think Mamazoulis was a recipient of some other bad luck from another player. So because we were worried kind of about the minutes now, but I think now that Humphries has gone into the halves, Paulie's new favourite player.
He's my favourite player, Jamie Humphries, straight into my fantasy
team. So the minutes for Mamazoulis will be quite significant now, I think, because there's no one really can take it off. Unless Jay, again, we wait till we see Jaden Sullivan's probably going to be on the bench somewhere.
They'll be keen to get Walker back, right? But there's rumours that he's not going to be fit for round one, which means Sullivan will have to play 5'8", because Dodd's now suspended, unless they put Jack White in there. But if you have a look at the south side backs,
I don't think so.
They need him in the centres.
I think so.
They need him in the centres because you've got no Campbell Graham, no Alex Johnston, no Latrell Mitchell.
I'll tell you the other thing I was shocked too about your new favourite player as well. I was shocked he wasn't goal kicking. And Tass was. I was quite surprised.
Yeah, well, that would be the other nice thing.
Humphries is a very good goal kicker.
He'll probably kick goal.
Well, there you go.
Because he'll have the week.
So people need to think about that going forward too. So.
And we said last week, watch the Witzer Preseason challenge, right? Because it's going to give us absolute gold, and it did. I thought, especially each that game. Yeah. Even your game, I know that was a bit Manly v Penrith, but we still got something out of it.
Yeah. I
also think
your other favourite player too for Brisbane. I think he's another guy.
Kobe Hetherington. Yeah. So he's been called the trap of the year in a lot of
and you're pushing back on that, aren't you?
I'm pushing back because Madge, we've seen in the past, he puts that guy in at 13. Well, you know even better than me. You look at the way that he sets up his lineups at Souths, at the West Tigers with New South Wales, and he gets that guy, and that's who he runs with. Joe Afengawe was never fantasy relevant until that year under Madge.
There you go.
So and you remember that year we never got on offer.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't get on him. We kept waiting because it's like it can't last. So if you don't start with Kobe, everyone says, "Oh yeah, but I'll just see him for 3 weeks."
Yeah.
But you're guaranteed you go, "Oh yeah, but he only did it because of this, and it's only because of that," and someone else will be a more important trade, and then we'll get to the end of the year and you go, "Oh, what's the one guy you wish you got? Oh, I wish I got Kobe Hetherington."
That's what I did. That's what I did with May last year. I kept explaining away because he was playing off the bench, and he was the exclusion to the rule. Never get the bench guys. And
414.
Yeah,
right.
It's too easy.
like, you're always going to look for someone to trade out. If it did go bust, then you got a bit of wiggle room with a trade out.
Yep.
You got to trade out someone, right? So really, the risk is so much lower than the reward. That's why I think it's worth it. You know, so we'll see. Hey, I'm putting my fantasy credit
All
on
I can
the
hear
line
in my
here.
head is just our producer Tom Leake saying Mama mentality, Kobe Bryant. So
Kobe.
So there you
he
go.
also wants me
It's
to
a good-
talk
it's a
about
good sign. It's a good sign.
He wants me to talk about another Lachlan Hubner. 250k. It's going to be hard to leave
there's
him out
gonna
in a
be-
Wayne Bennett team.
Again, that's going to be the theme the start of this year,
the lock
right?
spot.
All these 250 to
Lachlan
3,
the lock.
all these 250 to 350k guys. We're going to have a lot of them this year, mate. A lot of
Yeah.
them.
He's also got a bit of
impressed with him.
insurance as well. He's in the middle, so he's
Yep.
he's just
Hubner up. Tallis Duncan went a bit down though
Mm-hmm.
from that game.
It just really depends which way they're going to go. That's the thing. It's
Tallis, I feel like he's still almost growing into his own body. Like he's still figuring out
And
how to play at that level.
and we haven't seen Jaira yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Jaira is a pretty big linchpin in that side, to be honest.
Eventually, Duncan will. Like Duncan's the better player out of him and Hubner, but it's just the price point. Right?
Yep. It's all about the price, mate. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is also the first time without Murray that they haven't gone Colin Matungi in the middle.
Yeah.
So normally Colin
As a-
Matungi's
And
the
now he's
lead
gonna
in,
play
but now
left.
he's playing on the
Yeah,
other side.
well, yeah.
So, because I think the idea is when Cody Walker's back, they want that. Bennett
Right.
wants that combo. So that's it now. Colo on the left.
Yeah, we'll see.
What did you think your man who took Amanu?
Oh,
for the
he
Storm. I
did
mean, they
unbelievable.
got pretty well beaten, but he was outstanding.
Yeah, look, it was a bit of a slow start as well for the Storm. So they started out quite slow. There was a few injuries in the game as well. But yeah, look, he was explosive. So he was the one that we were just wondering. We've never really had these Storm props that we've thrown into contention.
No way. I was
Here you
anti
go.
because of. But now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think
it's hard.
I think we check the ownership, but then this time and next week, I think he was all going up quite a bit.
Well, IPAP people had in the team. He's 622. He named on the bench. A lot of people might hit drop
Yeah.
and then pick up Uto for 600.
I think so.
right?
Easy.
Like the other one was Bateman in that same game. He did a lot
Yeah.
of good little moments, but it didn't translate to
Yeah.
the fantasy score. So I don't know. Are you guys worried?
A little bit, but I think we were discussing before as well. There's no one else, and I feel like they took him off early to protect the fact that there's no one else.
I'm quite in cookie on this. I'm not worried.
Okay.
I think he's good.
Anything else out of the Witzer Pre-season that you saw?
Purdue did his job.
Yeah, Purdy and Duffy, yeah, for me.
Easy
yeah.
picks.
Other than that, everything else kind of went its way. But the standouts we talked about, the real fantasy must-haves. Yeah, I wish Ponga was cheaper. I really do.
Yeah.
But
And-
mate, he looked incredible.
And the Titans, like that new halves combination.
Well,
looked good.
unfortunately for Kieran, he's out for a while now. So that kind of really does make it
Makes it easier.
easier for people to go on that Brimson train.
Brimson's 450. You could probably get away with it, particularly
Yeah.
if you're going to play Tamale in your reserves and he has a good game, because you could loop Brimson with Tamale. Jaden Campbell, though, I'm not anti it, eh? I know
No,
you
not at
don't
all.
want that much money really missing in round one, but he's got that sort of KO weeks with upside play.
Yeah. Oh, he's an X Factor
Yeah.
player. He's like his
He's
father.
an
He's like his father,
X-factor.
Paulie.
But now he's going to have the floor way higher because
Yeah.
he's going to have to do all the halfback type of work. So he could go from he
They
could
get-
score anything.
They're going to be a very, very explosive team.
He could get 90s, right?
I feel
From time to time.
I feel like they're going to either win by 40
Yeah.
or lose by 40.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the fantasy wise,
Fantasy-wise,
you're still going to get
he's
your
not one to
numbers,
worry
but
about.
it's going to
Exactly.
be
He could
there's going to be no middle ground. It's just going to be a lot of
he could be like that year Sean Johnson had a couple of years
yep.
ago.
As I said,
And you get him at wing fullback.
that's the. Me and
crazy.
Floggy talked about this all weekend, right? The problem with those wing fullbacks, you either go super cheap, or you just accept that you're going to get a couple of 1 star, and you just go into the season thinking,
Ponga.
I'm going to get a 25 or I'm
Walsh.
getting a 75.
His
And
position,
you just-
Campbell
you
at
just take
halfback
it.
will probably
Yeah,
get a 50
I get
even in
that.
a bad game.
but he's
Yeah.
also position proof. Like I don't think it matters where he gets named because he always does a different
I know, but we want him at half.
Yeah, you want him at
fantasy-wise-
halfback, yeah.
Fantasy-wise, I just believe no matter what, he's going to end up with points.
After the unfortunate injury,
I want him at halfback.
I agree with you, Paul. After that unfortunate injury to Kieran now, I feel like it's almost validated you can go him.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people before that were going, oh, gee, it's risky.
Yeah.
It's really, really, so.
So, Nawanga Itawaze,
Yep.
comes back into contention because he had a good game. Because you're going to have to fill those wing
Well,
fullback spots.
we got to find the next Carraz, right?
Yeah,
when
that's
Carraz
right.
first came on the scene, those real busy wing fullbacks that break a lot of tackles,
I still
they
like
offload.
Well, he'll get you a
Talked
position
about
too.
Purdue.
Yeah.
Yeah, will Toya get it though? I don't think so. But you're talking about
Mark
Mark,
will end up with it because he's wing fullback at the moment, so he's giving you a little bit of versatility too.
That gives you a lot of versatility.
Yeah. So and obviously too, we got to talk about Longy as well.
Well, he's looked amazing.
He looked amazing. So he's pretty much going to be in everyone's team.
Well,
he has to be.
I mean, you don't normally like the words "must have," but surely that's.
Well, he's just
that's
the
him.
guy
Like,
everyone's going to have.
It's going to realistically 100% ownership should be where he sits for all the valid teams.
Yeah.
He's just going to be one that everyone's got.
And all the injuries for Souths, I feel like Munro's really dropped back. Like he was another cheapie people are eyeing off. Jesse McLean's not been named.
Yeah,
you
it's
never know,
unfortunate.
right? Like Luke Garner's been picked, like in the centres. Does Cleary take the pressure off Jesse? And then in the last minute,
Could do.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
maybe
I'm with you.
On Sunday, if you're at your club's New South Wales, you're doing the watch party, just make sure your phone's fully charged because you might need the app, right? Like you might need an hour before.
You might need the alerts, mate.
Yeah. All right. So we need to talk about the team lists.
Yeah.
Got the Raiders we talked about.
Yep.
The surprises will probably Horsburgh getting named at prop.
Well,
Hosking
locked
came
in.
back. We were worried he wasn't.
We were
gonna be
worried,
fit
but
for
we did say weeks ago that we thought Horse was a real option.
Yeah.
Because I thought he's kind of forgotten about.
Some of his scores, and when you look at that bench, you've got a rookie in Paddy who
Yeah.
plays hooker, young bloke. Starling could move into the middle, but the chances are they'll split that.
With the Levi not there, he's
Sasangi will
big.
take some of Hosking's minutes, I think, which
Yeah.
is why Hosking's only predicted at 30.
Okay.
Because I basically said Sasangi will take a bunch of his minutes.
So that's pretty big from you then, saying he's only going to predict 30. So that kind of scares you a little
But
bit.
what it means is Horsburgh has to get more minutes.
So you think Horse will move to the edge then?
No, I think Sasangi will come on the edge and Horsburgh will play in the middle, but there's only two middles left to rotate between. Like Papali'i comes on, right? But you've got Morgan, Smithies and Tarpany. They'll play big minutes.
Yeah.
But I think Horse has to play big minutes as well. I think they'll follow a similar mantra to what Brisbane are doing, where the 13, 10 and 8 are all on the field.
So
for
what
extended
have you got for Horse?
Yeah.
48.
Well, that's great.
And at his price,
400K.
That's great. That's great.
he'll make. Well, he'll go up about 10k.
Well, that's great. That's what you want, right? Because me and Floggy were talking about
building
it. It was the Gilbert Horse matchup, right?
It's
But
not
people
bad.
either wanted Gilbert or Horse.
I mean, Fisher Harris 51 going up 7k. So, it's not bad for Horsburgh, but we probably wanted even a bit more. But that's at 50 minutes. If he gets 55, and we've seen him put big outputs, so I think you're going a little bit on trust, less on the predictor if you're going Horse.
He's also got the motor too. Like he's played 80-minute
Well, mate,
games.
we talked about it. He's slimmer than ever. So that either means he's been told he's going to play more, and basically get ready to work.
As long as that passion hasn't slimmed down, I don't think we've got much.
You've got
I
to
think
figure
so.
it out. Yeah, who are you going to take? Like Udo, Horse, one of those
Oh,
guys.
I
He's got
think Horse is-
I think after today's team list, for me, if you ask me right now, I'd be taking Horse.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because Udo, we know he's got big scores in the past, and it's also got small scores.
His
So that's
price,
the
though.
risk,
His
right?
price is the issue
Yeah,
for
but-
Udo, unfortunately.
They're close.
Every
though.
every dollar. It's back to my Ponga
Yep.
Ponga Turbo / that chat. That extra 30k is just brutal.
Well, there's so many 400k players this year, and we've talked about it. If you're going to step up and get a 600k player, that means one of your mid 400 picks has to go down to a 250 pick. So basically, not only are you going up, you're also having to drop one of your 400 guys, and we've already discussed it.
Let's talk
Getting
about
the right ones is what's going to really dictate the rankings this year.
Let's talk about one of those guys who is cheap but not basement cheap.
Yeah.
And that's Savelio Tamale. He's been named on the wing. He's at 300k. He's going to be a great looping option for people that like to loop. But does Albert Hopewadi come back?
So again, this is going to go back to your new favourite player chat as well. It's like this is going to come back to what does he need to do to lock down that spot after Vegas? So you're expecting a big Canberra win. and he just brains it, and then he goes.
Yeah.
Do you think the Raiders are going to win that game? I feel like the Warriors have looked pretty good.
Well, I'm playing devil's advocate with your Tamale pick. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
The Raiders have got the Warriors in Vegas. I think that's 50-50, right?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be a lot of points in that game.
The Broncos next. The Broncos just won the Witzer Preseason challenge.
And they look amazing.
You know, and then they've got your team Manly, who, except for last year's almost aberration, right? They did win, but most years Manly beat them. So that's not a great start. They could be 0-3. I think that's fair to say. You're probably, unless you're tipping them to beat the Warriors this week, you're probably tipping them to be 0-3.
Yeah. Well, another thing too, and I think we discussed it when we looked into some of the drafts options as well, is I think we're forgetting about how the Raiders started last year as well. They started so strong. So
They had a good matchup.
Well, absolutely.
You know.
So and also too, back to Gus Gould's rant too about talking about the previewing the teams, the least experienced as well. They're one of the least experienced teams, so it's got to factor in, right?
The reason why you gamble on Tamale is just what you see, right? He scored over 45 points on average in New South Wales Cup last year, playing in a Dragons team that basically weren't keen on him. So he was getting picked in New South Wales Cup sometimes. He was going to be on the bench, or he was on the wing, or then he'd get an actual chance at fullback or centre. So this is a guy that just made it happen.
Right.
And that game against the Raiders in New South Wales Cup probably sealed his fate, where Canberra went, we need that guy, we'll poach him.
So the eye test is telling you yes, but the overall question is going to be, does he keep the spot?
It's a risk. Him and Humphreys are your two big risks, right? You pick them for round one, but they might not even be there in round two.
The risk is the $300 price point. Whilst it's the benefit to pick him, it's also to flip it over is the fact that if he loses the spot, you've only got whatever he makes between now and then to get some cash together to make it out. So really, he's going to be a guy who's going to get you some value by all means, just if he does those barging runs and tackle busts like he did in New South Wales Cup. But the security's a problem.
Let's talk about Warriors. James Fisher-Harris
is
going to be in a lot of people's teams.
Very popular.
And the predictor cements that with 51, right? So he'll rise, not big, but he'll rise.
You're getting what you pay for.
You're getting what you pay for. If you're happy with that, I think you stick him in. Luke Metcalf, 46.
That's great.
Very great.
So he'll go up nearly 15k.
So you almost have to get in,
Take
right?
that.
Yeah. And then Aaron Clark.
And Aaron Clark's the one, right?
So what's Aaron Clark on?
44 with 45 minutes.
Okay.
That's a point a minute.
That's not a lot of minutes.
So that's great. Yeah. So the only
he'll go up 9k.
Okay. So how are you expecting the Aaron Clark, Dylan Walker minutes to?
I think Dylan Walker will get 50 minutes. So
Okay.
they'll split a little bit of time together, but they'll mainly sub each other. So that's 95, which means they'll both have to be on the field for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So it could be that Clark only gets 40, but when you look at that bench, it's light, right? Baumonga, Halasima. I don't expect those guys to play massive minutes. Even Jackson Ford, he's going to have to come on as a middle now.
Right.
He'll probably only get 40 minutes, right? Like as a middle, I don't know if he plays more.
I'm seeing a lot of ball movement with this Warriors team. It's going to be a lot of side to side. It's going to be a lot of fast pace, like keeping the ball in play because they're such small. They're a smaller team.
So if you're a Fisher-Harris person, or if you're keen on Aaron Clark, just beware. While I think they'll go well, I don't know if there's dramatic upside, right? Like when we talk about your Brimsons and Campbells where they could go bananas and you could make big chunks of cash. I think those guys and maybe even Horsburgh, although Horsburgh does have a bit of upside in him, but certainly those Warriors guys, I think you're just getting what you pay for, as Luke said. They're doing their job. They're making a little bit of coin for you as you go. But I wouldn't get too tied to them, especially with the early buy.
I think as well with Aaron Clark, just expect him to be more of that slow burn.
Yeah.
So but not only like he's not a bad option to have sitting on your bench because a lot of people are running the Watson Mamazoulis duo without a third option in the mix. So having that third option.
That's right.
Yeah.
That does help. If something really out of the box happened and Connor Watson couldn't play in round one, and you didn't get Clark.
Well, that's key because
we've already seen it with Cam Murray. Like devil's advocate, touch wood. We're saying now, Connor Watson will get dual position. But what if he doesn't get named because something happens?
Well, that's something that we've discussed as well ahead of time. Is just remember, guys, when we pick any of these 4 teams, they're locked into your side. There is no one doing that.
We're going to talk. That's a good precursor because we're going to get to that. Let's just talk about the Panthers and the Sharks. Unless you've got any other Warriors.
No, I was just going to say. I think you're right. I think given that early bye, you're probably going to look at Metcalf and Fisher Harris, right?
I think so.
Right now, or Clark.
Or Clark instead of JFH if you're leaning that way. But Laban didn't get picked.
I think you guys are spot on.
Him, and the other guys probably aren't getting the minutes. So it's the Yo Cleary debate. Do we just take both of them and just be happy with it?
I am.
Is there any concern that Nathan Cleary won't play?
Well,
it's his first game. Like, he had the off-season surgery. He didn't play at all in the preseason. Is anyone worried at all? Because if you lock him in as captain, you're done. If the hour before kickoff, Schneider's 18th man, he's not going to come off. Well, so we're not going to know to an hour to go.
Can I counter with, can you tell us what their 2 scores are? And then I'll answer the question. Predicted scores.
Yo 69, Cleary 68.
So what if you captain Yo and just VC Cleary?
Well, you can't VC, right?
Oh, sorry.
Because he'll be locked as well. But you're right. What if you captain Yo and if Cleary gets an 80, you cop the 10-point deficit, but you go, well, at least I had the security.
That's a great segue. I did it on purpose.
No, that was good.
Planned it from the start.
That's good. That's great because a lot of people wouldn't know that.
24 hours to go. We'll know if Schneider's still in the 19 because it cuts down to 19. If he's not in the 19, if Talangi's not in the 19, or if we hear something definitive from Panthers camp, right? That's the other thing. Right. If Ivan or Nathan or anyone comes out of camp and goes, oh yeah, he's definitely playing.
I feel again.
Surely he plays. It's Vegas.
I feel like with everything's going on now, I feel like again it's a big moment in his career, big event. I think if he was gonna be short, like they've already said, Brian Tyler's a superstar, right? Yep. They've already said he's in doubt. I feel like these guys have won 3 titles. Like there's no fun and games with them anymore. You know what I mean? If Cleary was in doubt, I think Ivan would have said. He would have said, you know what? He's trying to touch and go. And you can tell by his team selection. Yeah. He's picked a team going, this isn't our best team, but it's the best team we've probably got available right now.
Yeah. We're not going to hold fans in doubt. We're just going to pick the 17 that can definitely take the 50. So I think we captain Cleary with enough confidence.
I don't want to. Again, I'm not going to come across a hypocrite. Then last minute go, I'm not going to pick Yo because I've said all summer to you.
I know, me too.
I said okay. I'm not doing it this year where I leave him out, Yo, and I go, oh, I shouldn't have done it because again, I think you're right. I think Sharks probably got a decent chance this week. Because given how many outs in Penrith.
I'm tipping the Sharks.
But it would not shock me at all if Sharks got up and we look at the scores and you go, oh, geez, Yo got 75.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You go, oh, why? We do this every year with him. We overthink it.
And if you take those 2, do you still get Jack Cole? I mean, he was a dominant playmaker last year. He's not going to be a dominant playmaker. So 42 says a predictor, but also that looks at what he did last year when he had a lot more to do because the other guys weren't there when he played. I'm
going to steal Floggy's line here. I feel like Blaze is a slow burn for Ivan. I feel like Ivan's just biding his time with him.
Win.
Yeah, and biding his time, and he's going to unleash him. And we're going to go, where was this coming from?
You can always jump on Cole if he has a big game in a week or 2.
And he's set to be the highest earner out of that game as well in terms of value. But
if you take the chance, it could really come off. Really come off for you. And we're suggesting IPAP because he's on the bench. Even though he might get good minutes from the bench, he's too expensive. At 6.22.
Let's get that price down.
And Jesse McLean, just watch.
Absolutely.
You never know. You just never know. Yeah. The Sharks, I don't think any of us were keen on a Sharks player this year.
No.
I was thinking about Teague.
Yeah. Okay. So there's guys like Eero, McInnes, Teague Wilton, AFB, Hines. At the right time, even Trindle.
Yeah, Trindle.
At the right time, we might make a move, but not yet. Stone Street playing those games last year puts his price out of whack. But yeah, we'll just watch them. Right?
So we just sort of put you on the spot there. So with Hines, what do you got him scoring?
Well, the predictor is still suggesting he's going to do all the kicking in that.
Okay.
Because
you can't see on the weekend. You can't.
So what? Like roughly?
58.
So roughly, what does he need to break it?
58, and he'll just be a bit below break even.
Okay.
So if he gets 60, like
so you pretty much
got him in draft and he gets a 60, you've got to be happy.
Fair enough.
What about we've Longy and I have looked at the official team. We've updated it. Are you guys looking at your team? Now the team lists are out. Like, is there anything that you're just adjusting? Is there anything we should think about? How many are too many players to be playing this weekend?
Well, it eliminates your flexibility, I guess, when those next letter team lists are there. There's been some pretty explosive picks this week, and that's only for 2 games. So we've got 6 next week.
Don't go too hard this week.
Have a backup plan, I feel.
If you got 2 or 3 Panthers and 2 or 3 Raiders, like, I don't know if you... Besides Metcalf, I don't know, that might be it, right? 6,
yeah, that's right.
Maybe 6 this weekend.
I think 6 is probably the magic number because, again, I think a lot of people will be factoring Horse now in too. So if you look at... So you've got Yo, Cleary, Metcalf, JFH, Horse,
Tamale.
So
maybe JFH can't even.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So then you're starting to rack up a big number.
6 is your magic number.
Yeah, 6, sorry.
4 or 5's fine. 7 or 8, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not fact.
But 6 is the ideal.
Yeah, because you also, to a degree, you want some players guaranteed locked in too. Like they've played.
And put them all in the right spot.
Yeah, exactly that too.
Don't leave someone on the bench unless they're in emergency. You're trying to loop them.
Or the emergency by accident because you've done a last-minute switch.
Yeah.
That's another key. Or the VC captain trap for round 1. There's always...
if it's Metcalf is your only guy in that first game, just VC him. Just VC him. Because you don't want to have anyone locked that's going to play at a later date because we don't know for sure. Sure, you can captain Cleary or Yo, but VC Metcalf.
Okay.
Get him in your other half. Just make him the VC. It should be safe because we're assuming Cleary's playing. Your VC doesn't count for anything. Only counts when the other one doesn't, but he'll be locked. The last thing you want is a Haas. He's locked, and then you get to the next week and Haas actually isn't right for round 1.
Yeah.
And you can't drop him.
Tricky part is for that to happen, you've got to have Metcalf in your starting team too. So if you have, for example, Munster, put him on your bench. It's going to be okay. You'll still get his points.
It's a good shout, Paulie. I like that.
Just be really cautious of that. You see your captain and your vice captain because they will lock.
Yes.
And everything else, it's a very long round 1, right? We do rolling lockouts. They're great. It's the longest rolling lockout you'll ever see.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, last thoughts. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, look, I'm just keen to get kickoff going. We've spent so much time and effort.
Year,
absolutely.
Right?
Well, this is Christmas.
This is our Christmas.
This is Christmas Eve, or even Christmas Eve.
Yeah, we get 2
Christmases.
Christmases.
It's
2
like,
Christmases. You know, when you go over to Eastern Europe and you get another Christmas 2 weeks later. That's what it's like having Vegas and then having the other 6.
I think to your point, the most important thing is make sure you check the team list. Do the VC thing like you said.
Absolutely.
Because again, this is always so tricky because people just go and they leave and they go, oh no, I'm stuck. So make sure you got all the tricks in. We'll put the video out and stuff, but have those tricks in, and then we can that way you're protected because again, starting well is everything in this game. Yeah. It always is because you always chase your tail 3 or 4 weeks and you can never get it back. So just really think long and hard about the magic number you want for Vegas, your VC, and what you want to do. So that's the best thing I reckon I can say about it.
Start on the right foot.
Absolutely.
We're back in the swing, Paul. That's all that matters.
It's fun. We'll do this each and every week. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, we have launched our official NRL Fantasy League. So we'll get you a code for that, right? And that way, I think it's in the description. So there you go. Leaky, how quick was that? He's just put it in. So if you're listening, you've got to go to YouTube, go find that. Play. We're gonna, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna have something there if you win.
Well, another key one too is that how many times throughout the team list questions start coming in. How many times have we asked? I'd love to see your team. If you're joined in, we're gonna be able to look.
Well,
that
there you
up
go.
on the fly.
There you go. So it's
just
too
takes
easy.
care
Just
of
join it.
Absolutely.
And then the live show on Thursday. That's at 6:30 p.m. on YouTube every Thursday. There's no games this Thursday, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway and get warmed up because from next week on, it will be everything. And if you've missed anything, catch it on the podcast wherever you listen to them. Stay tuned to NRL.com. There's going to be heaps happening in the lead up to Vegas. Luke Seifleet, Erik Wells, I'm Paulie G. Thanks so much and see you all next week.